What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Celio's Network. Today, I have a guest with me, Anthony Alvarez. He just won the Puerto Rico special event with Obstagoon, so we're going to be looking at his list and talking about his tournament run. Before we get into that, shout out to PotownStore.com and FlipsideGaming.com. Links and coupon codes are in the description below. What's up, Anthony? How are you doing? Tell the viewers a little about yourself.
Hey, what's up, man? I'm Anthony Alvarez from New Jersey. Been playing competitively since 2017. This is my fourth season, I believe, or third. I'm not sure, but I got back into it again when Sun and Moon base came out. I used to play early days. Me and my brother, we played competitively when it was like base set, jungle, Neo Genesis, whatnot. We played back in like 2000 to 2003, but I took a long time off and I got back into it in Sun and Moon. But yeah, now I'm back and yeah, just trying to get my points and win some tournaments.
Awesome. So you got your invite off of the special event, right?
I did.
So are you just straight chilling for the rest of the season? Maybe a couple locals or?
Yeah, I'm totally not like trying to play until Worlds, man. I'm, like saving tons of money. I mean, me and my buddies, we test every Wednesday, like at my place. So I'll still be doing that. But yeah, like as far as I'm going to Albany Regionals just because it's like a drive away. But I'm not planning on going anywhere else.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. It's nice to get that huge chunk of points and chill for a while.
Definitely.
So yeah, today we're going to be looking at your Obstagoon list from the Puerto Rico special event. If you don't know, this was a standard special event, a little under 100 people. Same weekend as Collinsville Regionals, but standard format, so some players chose to go there instead. So tell me about Obstagoon, why you thought it was a good play for this tournament in specific, or maybe you just think it's good all around for the format.
Yeah, so Goons, I've actually only been playing this deck since even like this set was released. Like I saw when the cards were announced, I saw a successful deck list in Japan that did well over there, and I was toying around with that list and I loved it. And then kind of their meta is obviously different from ours. And then when we started getting a grasp of what our meta was shaping out to be, I kind of I toyed around with the list, made some changes. And then I saw the guy that did well with it in Australia. He top forward with it. He kind of had a different build from that Japanese list. He was no Lillie dolls, just consistent like counts, and he had like supporter counts, and he played a Virizion, which was notable. And then I still like the dolls because I think it's your only shot to like lock out some of your matchups. But I think it's actually a really good deck as far as matchup spread goes, and I think it's a really solid, viable deck, to be honest.
Cool, awesome. Yeah, this is one of those decks. I feel like we have one of this kind of deck almost every standard meta where the set's about to come out and people hype it up, and then everybody's like, nope, you just tech forward and you beat it, it's a bad deck, it's a trap, and then 2 weeks later it's a good deck again. We've seen this happen with Malamar before. We've seen it happen with Greninja Break more times than I can count. So yeah, I do think it's very solid. You won an event that pays out the same CP as regionals with it. It just top forward Australia, so I think it has some good results backing it right now. So we're not going to go over the entire list, but I will pick out a couple things that I wanted to touch on, and then you can tell me if there's anything specific you wanted to talk about the list. The first thing I wanted to mention is there are no Sableye V in the list. I had to edit the deck name from Sablegoons to just Goons because there is actually no Sableye. So tell me why you didn't put Sableye, or why you felt the deck could suffice without it.
Yeah, so I tested Sableye in the deck since I started playing it, and it does require a large amount of setup to pull it off. And I realized after testing some of the main matchups like ADP, Pikarom, Mewtwo, Malamar, like the big name decks, like it really was never needed. I never really needed to take a big KO on something, like I could just use like the combos that I usually tend to like aim for, and it never involved Sableye. So I just decided to just cut him because he was just like a dead card.
Cool. Yeah. So I think a lot of times people will keep cards just because they see everybody has it in their deck. And it obviously paid out dividends for you to cut a card that was not working for you specifically, and you could succeed with the deck without it.
Definitely.
Another card is the Virizion-GX, which was in the top 4 Australia list. You and I were talking a little bit about this before we started recording. Your thoughts on the card. So why don't you tell me why this was added? Was this added in place of the Sableye?
Yeah, so I actually had 0 games tested with the Virizion. I never tested it. Then the night before the tournament, I just knew that I wanted to cut Sableye, and it was originally going to be an Oranguru to have a decent chance against like Cincino Mill. And I was at like 2 league challenges last week, and a total of 9 rounds, 5 and 4. And in 9 rounds, I played against 6 Cincino Mills, and I did tech an Oranguru in my Goons list, and I just wouldn't take prizes, and I would just resource management every turn, and I tied every single one of the Cincino Mills. And I mean, I guess they weren't playing it right because I know there's ways around it, but I just forced ties with it. And I was just like, you know what, I'm not even gonna play Oranguru for this tournament. If I just play Mill, I'm just gonna take the loss to it. So I wanted to replace Sableye with Oranguru, didn't want to play Oranguru, so I was like, you know what, let me just mess around with this Virizion. It's obviously good. The dude at Australia got top 4 with it, and I did see like he was on stream one round, and he did like a pretty sick play against a Malamar deck with the Virizion.
Against Danny.
Yeah. So, and it was like, oh, that was like, I kind of was like, maybe if I play against the Mally or something, I could do something like that. But yeah, I mean, it actually won me a set because I played against like the spread deck in Swiss of this tournament, and yeah, I was able to heal all my damage off my board and kind of just like put me back right into the game.
Yeah, cool. One thing I forgot to ask was were Swiss rounds best of 1 or best of 3?
Best of 3.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the list. Just forgot to ask about that. I forgot if special events can be best of 1 or if they have to be best of 3. The other one I guess I would mention here is the Tyrogue, which I had in my like earliest iterations of the deck, and I also saw in a lot of the Japanese lists from back a couple months ago. So what made you decide to keep the Tyrogue?
I absolutely love that card. I think it's so broken. It's kind of like a cute, dumb card, but it's just
for
so
sure.
good. It's so good. So like, like obviously Goons is a setup deck, stage 2. There's a lot of turns where you're just building up. It's not as consistent as most decks. You don't have a Dedenne. You're not like running like, you don't have a lot of reach. So a lot of the times I'm just like setting up, I'll just feed him a doll. And as I'm setting up, I just, instead of just passing, I could just go, hey, Tyrogue, flip a coin. Maybe I get 30 damage on your board somewhere.
Yeah.
And it just, it has free retreat. It's just a good like pivot as well. And it's just such a good card. Like you get so much value out of it. And it could just set up like the Yveltal play out of nowhere sometimes. And I think it's really good that going first turn 1 that you can just possibly get 30 damage on the board. Like when you can't even attack, it's monumental.
Yeah, I do agree. Going turn 0 with a Tyrogue heads flip is very cool. Were there any other cards in your list that you thought were special or important that you like to tell people not to cut, or cards that you would cut going forward?
I think Mimikyu has to go. I mean, because Mewtwo's playing Stealthy Hoods anyway, and that was the deadest card in my deck this weekend. I know it's a good card, but I just felt like it's really not needed. A card that I would suggest not to cut, and I possibly want to play a second one, was Dangerous Drill, which that card is huge because in the Mewtwo matchup, I get rid of their Stealthy Hood. I usually just discard like a Linoone, I think the stage 1 guy is.
Galarian Linoone or Linoone.
Yeah. I usually just like pitch him away with the Dangerous Drill, and I get rid of their Stealthy Hood, and then I'm just able to get like a ping, and then like obviously like coming off of Australia, like Mewtwo strat against Goons was like, oh, we're just gonna Stinger GX and then Baby Brown to win. So I just anticipate that gameplay from Mewtwo's, and then they just go like Stinger, and then I just go Dangerous Drill, get rid of Stealthy Hood, put the things on it, Yveltal, and just win.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
So
so I could see how, like, if your plan is to just Dangerous Drill the Hood off and one-shot the Mewtwo, then having the Mimikyu kind of seems like a middleman that you don't need. Like, you don't really need to slow down their ability if you can just one-shot it.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, yeah, Dangerous Drill is definitely a cool card. What I like about your list in general is I feel like it's playing a fair amount of cards that aren't really played a lot. So like the Virizion, that was played in the Australia list, but seeing it again, it's cool. The Tyrogue, the Dangerous Drill, having Lillie's dolls back in, so really cool list. How do you think consistency wise, did it feel like you wanted it to feel?
Yeah, like I mean, I was debating on playing a fourth Jirachi, but I was starting it very often, and the deck ran. I really didn't break much throughout the tournament. Like it, I mean, you have time with the deck. I feel like you just got to get a couple pieces down, and then it'll just you Rosa into your combos, and then you could just set up the lock within a turn. Like it's just really good.
I actually have a fourth Jirachi in here, so there's something wrong with my list compared to yours. So I'm gonna figure out real quick where we differ here.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
But yeah, like the deck runs, I think, smoothly. I think Rosa is such a good card. I do want to play 4, but early game, it's a dead card, so I don't want to see it too often. So you just kind of want to like hold on to it in the right moments. But yeah, like the deck itself, runs pretty smoothly.
Reset stamp. There we go. Okay, I'm just gonna pop this Jirachi out and add a reset stamp. And yeah, so like I was saying, I think the list is really cool. Some good feedback there for anybody that wants to use Goons moving forward, or maybe wants to change their list up a little. I've seen people play it without the Jirachi engine, but I think Jirachi's a really good way to go.
Oh yeah, I
For
would
Jirachi in every deck.
yeah, definitely.
Okay, so let's talk about your matchups now. How many rounds was Swiss, and then it was a top 8 cut, I believe.
Yeah, it was 7 rounds of Swiss and then a top 8 cut. So in Swiss, I played. I'm kind of hazy on the order, but I know.
Yeah, just go over whichever rounds you want to.
Yeah, sure. So I played against 3 Pikarom decks in Swiss, which I'm almost convinced it's a very favorable matchup for Goons. So again, they don't really have evolution Pokemon. I've seen some lists play a Electros, and I think that's really bad because they have to commit the 4 energies to it. It doesn't necessarily take a one shot on an Obstagoon. They have to go E-Power. And then at that point, they're just trading 1 for 1. Then you're just eventually going to just kill their Electros and be in the same exact position as you were before it anyway.
Yeah, Electros doesn't seem very good.
Yeah, so like, I always just Yveltal, I target the Raichu because he's just annoying because of the paralyzing, but that doesn't even win it for them, I think, because I just literally always have a Goon active with an Escape Board on them. So when they paralyze me, I just retreat. And then I usually bring up a doll, send the doll back into the deck, and bring that Goon right back out. So it's like, and then I think it's just a really bad matchup on their part. And then you just eventually just win. But yeah, like I beat 3 Pikaroms, and then I played a spread deck that I mentioned, which was like a really cool deck. Virizion was MVP of that matchup. I played against a ADP, which ADP seems like a bad matchup, but there's like I just like cheese my way out of it. So like I literally just bench 2 Zigzagoons, and I go they kill 1, and they obviously always just go turn 2 GX Altered Creations, and I don't know if that's correct or not, but obviously that's their game plan, and every time I play against it, that's what my opponent does. So as soon as they do that, I don't overbench. I just go 2 Zigzagoons and hopefully just have the Rosa in hand, and then literally just go Rosa, Rare Candy, Obstagoon, Energy, maybe a counter gain depending on where I put the energy attachment, and then just literally leave lone Obstagoon, and I just obstruct to the end of the game, and they just scoop because there's nothing they can do. I mean, I was speaking to people about I was speaking to Justin Bakari about the strat, and he's like, oh, I would just go. I wouldn't even alter creations. I would save my Tingly Return with Dedenne.
Yeah, Tingly Return is very good there. But it still doesn't win you the match.
Yeah, because
you can just go switch into Doll. So yeah, so speaking on from my side where I've tested ADP-zation into that a lot, and I've done a lot of theorying on this. So you can go Aurora Energy, Dedenne, Tingly Return to paralyze them. If you're playing Crushing Hammers, you can always go for hammer plays. If you're playing Yell Grunt, you can go for Yell Grunt plays. But regardless of what you're doing to them, you also need to stamp them or Marnie them at the same time. Because you need to disrupt your hand. You need to disrupt their hand after you disrupt their energy, or you paralyze them or something like that. So I don't think any of the plans that don't include having an evolution Pokemon are foolproof, because you have to also hope they don't just draw out of it with a couple of cards.
Right.
And you could play like Copper, but then you're committing 3 energy to a stage 1 Pokemon that's not good in many other situations. So kind of like you said, the Electros. Just wanted to give my input there on the ADP-zation. I do agree with you that it's favored for Obstagoon.
Yeah, I mean, even if they're I've heard of some strats where ADP would just not use altered creations, save a Tingly Return, let them take multiple prize cards, and then you just go stamp to 2 or 1, and then you Tingly Return and just hope they don't bench anything else. But I feel like if you're letting the game go out that long, I'm just gonna possibly set up a board where I could take multiple knockouts in my final turn. I could just go. You bench 2 Zigzagoons, take a knockout on the bench or something. I don't know. I think it seems very favorable. I mean, literally, I didn't take a single prize card against the 3 ADPs from this weekend. They just scoop every game.
It's hilarious. Did you happen to see any Luke Metal-zations around?
No.
Okay, I mean, Luke Metal-zation has I think, worse matchup spread across the field, but I think it handles that better because you can just full metal wall all the energy and stamp. Which a little more foolproof. Okay, so played against some Pika ROMs, played against some ADP-zation, the spread deck you mentioned.
Yeah, and let me just and then that's pretty much my Swiss rounds. I played 2 ADPs, 3 Pika ROMs, the spread deck, and then the final round of Swiss, I got paired against my buddy Edwin Lopez from New York. He was playing Ability Zard, which I just gave him the win because it brought him into top 8 as well. So I was guaranteed into top cut anyway. So I just ID'd to him, and then then we got to top 8, and then in top 8 my matchup was Ability Zard, and
was that Edwin or was that a different one?
No, it was a different Ability Zard guy. So Ability Zard is tough because of the new 70 HP Vulpixes. So they obviously want to go Ninetales up something else. And then if I just want to go lone Obstagoon, they could potentially, either Charizard GX me, or they have a couple options. So it's kind of, you kind of don't want to go lone Goon sometimes. But I think Ability Zard is kind of tough, but I kind of figured it out. I just literally chase Vulpixes, and Tyrogue is huge in that matchup. So I usually I keep feeding them dolls as I'm setting up, and I usually have a lone Zigzagoon on my bench with a Stealthy Hood, so they can't bring them up with Ninetales. And then I have Tyrogue as well, and I use Mew until he dies. I usually just put 30 counters with the 1 counter from Zigzagoon, and maybe I get a heads on Tyrogue. I could kill 1 Vulpix, and then as I'm setting up my board, I'm just targeting the second Vulpix. And as soon as the 2 Vulpixes are gone, I know I'm pretty like locked up in the match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then that's what I just tend to do. But the guy I was playing in top 8 actually played an Ordinary Rod. I killed 2 Vulpixes, and then he Ordinary Rod 2 Vulpixes back. But I was able to. He couldn't get it. He was like bench locked, and I just like didn't. I was like, you know what? I'm just like not gonna kill anything, and it looked like he was gonna deck out, so he scooped, and I was able. We went to 3 games, and I was able to win in game 3 with that strat.
Nice.
I just target Vulpixes, and then you're in good shape.
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah, abilities are sometimes even the rough matchups versus abilities are you can still squeak them out because abilities are just kind of plays with the hand they're given. They don't really get to go into the deck to search. They're not establishing new evolutions or spreading damage or anything, and you're doing all that stuff.
Right.
So
yeah, and like,
top 4. Oh, go ahead. Continue on about that one.
Also with abilities are it's like also I forgot what I was just gonna say something. Oh, so like they always want to use Ninetales and just burning 2 energies to bring something up, and it gets them to a weird point where like they're kind of forced to use Victini, and it's kind of like, okay, well, you're handing me a prize here, and then it kind of puts their deck full of fire energies into the late game, and then you just Marnie them, and they kind of just like brick. So like yeah, abilities art, I think it's not an easy matchup, but it's not that bad as well. But yeah, anyway, moving on to top 4, I played an ADP guy, and this ADP list was a lot worse because he played Pokemon Catcher, and that is a tough time with Pokemon Catcher because I feel like they can just beat me. It's hard to go lone goon because as I'm like setting up sometimes, I don't know. I think Pokemon Catcher is just really bad for
you.
goons.
Yeah, they can high roll you where they can't with custom catcher.
Yeah, and he was able to win game 2. I won game 1. You know, I got the lock on turn 3, and then game 2 he was able to, you know, beat me, and then game 3 I got the lock as well. But yeah, he was kind of upset, but because he thought like it was like a cheap way of winning what I was doing, just going like lone goon.
Yeah,
but
that's a win con.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, oh yeah, but you know, it was all like, you know, he's a good game, congratulations. But
yeah,
I mean, that's my like only chance, you know, just to go lone goon and see what they do. But
yeah, for sure. I think it's just since you just touched on that, I think it's really interesting how this archetype has developed. Like we were talking about earlier, you don't have Sable IV in here, and it looked like in the beginning when we were looking at the cards that Obstagoon was just going to be like a damage modifier for Sable IV almost, and then Obstruct just happens to be this really strong attack, and nobody's playing Evolution Pokemon. So it's kind of crazy that it turned into a wall deck after, or I guess a pseudo wall deck, but it's kind of weird how that established or how that developed.
Definitely. Like, yeah, even in my testing, like, you know, since the set, like before the set came out, it was kind of just like, spread deck, placing counters everywhere, setting up plays for Sableye. But now it's just like you just said, like it's strictly just like more like a reactive deck. Let me see how they're playing out their board, and then I'm just gonna try locking them out of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then in the finals, I played against the Baby Brown list. Apparently, he's playing a list that was posted. I haven't been up to date on like current lists, but some of the players were telling me like he was playing a list that's been going around. I'm not sure if it was from Australia, but it was a Baby Brown list that was playing like Cramorant V.
Okay, yeah, that's I believe that might be on the spreadsheet on this channel. It might be from there was like this mini stream tournament that Limitless and Team Brave Birds did a week before OCIC, I think, and they streamed it and shared all the deck lists and stuff. So I think that might be the one they're speaking of. And if anyone's interested in that, it's on the spreadsheet on this channel. You can also find it somewhere on Limitless TCG. But yeah, Cramorant's been splashing around in Baby Brown lists a bit.
Yeah, like he was playing a lot of like interesting cards in this Baby Brown list, and he, you know, it was working for him. Obviously, he got to the finals, and you know, he beat some notable players in the tournament. He beat Edwin Lopez and he beat Rahul Reddy. So the list is really good. It seems really good. Like he's playing like a Cramorant. I saw a Big Blind. I saw Oricorio GX.
They might also be playing Zacian V in that
he
one.
did play that as well. I saw like he played a Bree Springer. Apparently that's how he. I've heard firsthand from my buddies Rahul and Edwin that he just went turn one, blow up a tag team with B Springer, take 4 prizes, and just Cramorant a Dedenne.
Yeah, B Springer is a spicy card.
Yeah, so I mean, he was playing, but like, I mean, as soon as we sat down for the final, he's like, "Oh, this is gonna be real fast for you." And he scooped in turn 3. Like as soon as I said obstruct for the first time, he's like, "All right, I'll go first."
Yeah.
Second game, and second game, you know, we actually played a little longer game, and then he just tried going for a strat where he was just gonna bursting burn me with Yveltal-GX.
Right.
And then he just couldn't keep up. I just would retreat into a backup. I had a skateboard, so I just burned 1 energy for the retreat cost. Bring up another Obstagoon and just 90. You just 2-shot the Blacephalon, and they just can't keep up. It's a bad matchup.
My gears were turning about the Blacephalon before you said it, thinking if that could help him out at all. But if you just have the resources to retreat, like as long as you don't have a 0-card hand, then I think you can deal with it. Yeah,
like between e-board, Switch, and like again, like the dolls and the Tyrogue are great for like pivoting. You know, I could send it back into the deck or just Tyrogue has free retreat too. So yeah, it's just like it just seems like a really bad matchup for Baby Bounds. So
yeah,
it was an easy 2-0, and then that won the tournament.
Awesome. Do you have anything else to say about the deck before we wrap up the video? And then we'll do shoutouts, of course, as well.
So yeah, I think the deck should not be slept on, just because it doesn't have like a V or a tag team or title on it. I think the deck is very powerful, and I know it's powerful. I've been testing it, and I've tested against like the main top decks, and it stands its ground against it. And even moving forward, if there's like a shift in the meta, like even if you tech heavily for Obstagoon, I still feel like it could still put up a fight, because I mean, naturally a tech for Obstagoons would just be playing an evolution deck, but like as of where we stand right now, maybe like there isn't really that many viable evolution decks. I mean, I don't, so it's, and like people were playing Fion. I've heard people say, "Oh, Fion stops Goon." I don't think Fion's a good tech. I mean, Stealthy Hood alone. I mean, Stealthy Hood, Fion Live Center Labs is kind of annoying.
Yeah.
But I eventually, like I said, against ADP, that they're doing that. I just go lone Goon and they can't do anything. But I think the deck's great, and I was a former Greninja player, so we're calling this the new like Greninja. So I'm in love with this deck. I won't be playing anything else.
Awesome. We'll have to see if the Goon survives all the way till Worlds when you return. Or maybe Albany, since you're playing that, since it's close to you.
I'm 100% locking in Goons for Albany. I'm for sure.
Cool. Well, thanks for being on the channel. I don't think you ever been on the channel before, so it was good to have you on.
I'm a big fan, man. I always watch your vids. I mean, we're NJ natives. I always see you. I see you at the locals. I'm used to you beating me up at League Cups and stuff. So like, it's a pleasure, man. I like what you done with the channel. You come a long way, man, and you're doing good things.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it was good to have you on, fellow New Jersey player. So yeah, any shout outs before we end the video?
Just my testing buddies. I mean, honestly, like I live in a gray area where I have some really good players here, like between New Jersey. I'm in northern New Jersey, so I'm like kind of close to New York as well. So I deal with a lot of the New York players as well, and
deal with them. You have the pleasure.
Oh yeah, like I mean, I'm not gonna lie, man. Like I when I won, I made a post like thanking all like my buds, but honestly, like the win, it doesn't really feel like a win for me. It feels like like kind of like a thank you to all the community and the guys I met, because like, you know, just testing and being with these guys like made me a better player. And like, you know, like I'll say some names like, you know, Peter Kika, Tristan Masick, Edwin Lopez, Justin Bakari, Mike Nui, Jason Anacarico, Danny Chalet, who's actually the best player in New Jersey. You, man, Luke Morsa. You know, just we have a really good area here, and it's a very competitive area, as you're aware of as well, man. And it's just like
Yeah, you gotta be good to top 8 a challenge over here.
It's frustrating, but also like humbling at the same time. Like,
yeah,
it's just like you have to get good fast here. So, you know, and I test with them frequently, and like I'm literally watching. I'm watching the stream. Justin just won the regional, so like,
oh hell yeah, congrats,
yeah.
Justin.
So I'm so like happy for this dude. Like this guy, I feel like is like IQ 300. He's such a great mind for the game, and like being able to pick his mind every week when we test, like, just has made like my knowledge for the game a lot better. And he's a really good like friend to have. But yeah, I mean, those as far as shout outs go, Joey Rojas too, that's my boy.
Oh yeah,
Joey's the boy. And yeah, man, I'm forgetting tons of names, but those are the main guys that like,
all
you know,
the
we
homies.
grind with. Yeah, we grind with.
Yeah. Special congrats to Justin. We don't usually get to record a video during a regional stream going on, but yeah, that's 2 on the season.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long time overdue, man. I think this guy, you know, he's had a lot of, you know, bad luck in his past. I mean, but he's on a tear. This guy is insane.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Well, thank you for coming on. Congrats on your win 200 CP at the special event with Obstagoon. Very crazy. I'm sure I'll see you at some events at some point. I'll see you in Albany for sure. Thank you all for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more content like this in the future. Like I said in the beginning, check out my sponsor, PoTownStore.com. Link is in the description below. And I'll see you next time here on Celio's Network.